Hi, I'm Mike, founder of GoodBed.com. Today we're going to be taking you through the entire Stearns Foster collection of mattresses. Now, this is a collection that was last updated in 2019 and has just been fully updated again. The models we're going to show you here today are going to start to be seen both in stores and online in the latter part of 2022 as well as early 2023. Now, this is a collection of mattresses that we've covered pretty extensively in the past, and in fact, you may want to refer back to our coverage of the 2019 version of this line because there are a lot of commonalities between those mattresses and the ones that we're going to show you today. However, there are also a fair number of differences, as you will see. We're going to be covering this line today really from A to Z, focusing on each of the different collections within the broader Stearns & Foster lineup, as well as showing you some specific models. And we'll also try to give you an idea of what types of things may be similar to or different from what you've seen from Stearns & Foster in the past. So we're excited to show it to you. Stick around. So let's start with a high-level view of just the general landscape of this newly updated Stearns & Foster lineup, which in one sense you could say has been expanded from 4 collections to 5, and yet in another sense you could say has been consolidated from 22 models down to 19. And in terms of the characteristics that all of these collections and models have in common, I would first note an observation I have, which is that there are probably fewer such things, fewer such commonalities than what we may have seen in Stearns & Foster lineups of the past. But of course, that's not to say that there are no commonalities. And in fact, certainly the most quintessential among those commonalities is the focus on quality and craftsmanship, which has long been kind of a calling card of Stearns & Foster mattresses. And just to put a little teeth behind that, because I know it sounds like a claim that, that maybe other mattress companies could make, it's worth noting, you may be aware that Stearns & Foster is part of the same parent company as Sealy, another very well-known, long-standing mattress brand. Well, I can tell you that it takes twice as long to make a Stearns & Foster mattress as it does to make a Sealy mattress, which is, I think, very emblematic of the amount of work and care that goes into these mattresses. And not only that, it is also required in order for a craftsman to be able to work on Stearns & Foster mattresses for them to train for at least 6 months in order to learn all the various methods that are used in making a Stearns & Foster mattress. So it is something they take quite seriously, and in fact, you will see the name of the craftsman written on the foot of every Stearns & Foster mattress. So that is a real proof point to demonstrate this, this personal handmade aspect of Stearns & Foster mattresses. In terms of other characteristics that they have in common, I will just quickly cover one thing is that they all use some tencel in the cover, not always the same amount, not always the same percentage in terms of what portion of the fabric comes from tencel, but they all do use at least some tencel, which you may already know is a sustainably sourced material made from natural materials, as well as it is known for its moisture wicking properties. So that's some of the reasons why they chose to use tencel in these covers. You will also notice that there's a lot of ventilation properties that are pretty core to Stearns & Foster mattresses. Side vents have long been a feature of Stearns & Foster mattresses, and at least in recent years, they've also added perforation to the fabric that encases the edge coils going around their mattresses. Of course, ventilation is a cooling feature, right? It promotes airflow, which is really the best way to allow heat to escape the mattress. So that's another common sort of family of characteristics that you'll see across all or most Stearns & Foster mattresses. And the last thing I'd point out is that there are a lot of aesthetic details that you'll see in common across the various collections and models here. You'll see blue tones across the entire collection. You'll see the side panels, they have switched to a knit side panel with a chevron design in most cases. You'll see these two-toned handles with a stripe, a different colored stripe going down one side of the handle. It's a nice little aesthetic touch that they all these models have in common. So those are just some other things that I can point out that are common traits across this entire collection. Okay, so now we're going to switch gears and get into the details of the individual collections within this broader Stearns & Foster lineup. And we're going to start at the entry level and work our way up. And the entry level collection is actually a name that is new to Stearns & Foster. It's called the Studio Collection. It consists of 2 models, the medium tight top as well as a medium Euro pillow top. And I do want to point out that the genesis of this Studio Collection is not brand new. In fact, it stems from the Estate Collection, which is one level up, which used to have 2 levels within it. And essentially what they did is they took the lower level, the entry level of that Estate Collection, which in the previous generation was known as Hurston. So there were 5 models in that Hurston level of Estate. They basically just decided to pull those out of the Estate Collection and turn them into their own collection with their own identity. So the most popular of those Hurston models in the previous generation was the Hurston Cushion Firm Tight Top. Its closest descendant is the mattress I'm sitting on right now, which is the Studio Collection Medium Tight Top. So that being said, the Studio Collection mattresses do differ a bit from those Hurston ancestors, as well as from the other current models of Stearns & Foster mattresses in one key respect, which is they use a different coil system. These mattresses use a coil system. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more give to it, not quite as firm of a coil. It has a 1,072 coil count. It's not a coil-in coil type of situation like other Stearns & Foster mattresses use. It's just a different coil system designed to give the mattresses a little bit of a different feel and support profile. It does have edge coils going around the perimeter. They use a system called the Duraflex Edge, which you actually will also see in some of the higher end Sealy products. But it does give the mattresses a nice strong edge. In terms of other construction characteristics that are shared between these two studio models, they both use a cover that is made from 100% Tencel, obviously the white coloring, and then below the quilt layer in each of these two mattresses, or below the pillow top, I guess in the case of the pillow top version, is a 1/2 inch of memory foam. So they both do have a little bit of memory foam. And in terms of the feel of these two mattresses, you'll see that the names of them both indicate a medium feel. In general, there are a lot of similarities to the feel of these mattresses. Neither of them has a particularly high amount of memory feel with only that 1/2 inch of memory foam. Both of them do have a fair bit of bounce stemming from that coil system I just described. The key difference here would be we would characterize the tight top as a medium firm on our softness spectrum, meaning just to the firmer side of medium, whereas the Euro pillow top we would classify as a straight up medium. So there's a little more softness there in that Euro pillow top, and also likewise a little bit more cushioning depth, just slightly deeper than average cushioning on the Euro pillow top, whereas it's more right kind of in the middle, that blend of sleeping on versus sleeping in when you're talking about the tight top. All right, so now we've moved up to the Estate Collection. It's a bit larger collection. It consists of 5 total models. They're going to start about $600 more than the studio models we just looked at. But for that, you're going to get a few key new features. Number one is the use of the IntelliCoil system, which is a system that Stearns & Foster has long been known for. Basically, you can best think of it as a coil inside of a coil. Now, why would you do that? Well, this is basically a lighter weight, taller coil going around the outside with a stronger weight, shorter coil on the inside. And the reason for that is so that this lighter weight coil can support the lighter parts of your body, the parts that maybe even concave, like the lumbar area of your back, and give them cushioning and conformance, while not making sure not to allow your heavier and pointier parts from sinking too far into the mattress. That's essentially the safeguard that this shorter, stronger coil provides. So as you get deeper in, this shorter, stronger coil kicks in, and it provides disproportionately stronger pushback the deeper you get in. So that's really the key to it. You kind of get the best of both worlds in a sense of what the roles of the two coils and how they work together. So that IntelliCoil system, when you count each of these as 2 separate coils, adds up to 1,504 coils in a queen size relative to the 1,072 coils that you had in the Studio Collection. So that's one of the material upgrades. You also get, with that coil system, a different kind of edge. It's called a precision edge. It is this narrow coil here with perforated fabric encasement that we talked about earlier. So that does give these mattresses a really nice strong edge. And then the other key upgrade in terms of the materials is that you now introduce what's called Temper Indulge memory foam. So this is not the same as Temper material. However, it is a memory foam made by Tempur-Pedic, which also is part of the same parent company as Sealy and Stearns & Foster, and basically created this memory foam specifically for use in Stearns Foster mattresses. And what you get is also more of it. So in addition to it being a denser, you can see here it's just a really slow responding memory foam. It's got that slow melting sensation that you think of when you think of memory foam, and particularly when you think of memory foam from Tempur-Pedic. And you also get clearly more of it. You're getting about 1.5 inches, maybe even a smidge more. It's 4 centimeters of this material in each of these mattresses. Now, there is one exception to that, which is the ultra firm tight top within this collection, which has only 3/4 of an inch of this Tempur Indulge memory foam. Now, that brings me to the 5 models in this collection, which are, in addition to that ultra firm tight top, you have 2 other tight tops, a firm tight top and a soft tight top. And then you also have 2 Euro pillow tops, a firm and a soft. The firm is the one I'm on right here. Now, if you were aware of the predecessor to this current lineup of Stearns & Foster mattresses, you will have seen these mattresses in virtually their identical constructions in the form of the Estate Rockwell models of the 2019 Stearns & Foster lineup. So these are very similar, if not identical, with the exception of a 1/2 inch of additional foam that's been added to each of these models, which has made them slightly taller. They range from 13.5 to 15 inches now, 15 being the pillow tops. But otherwise, they're very similar to those Rockwell models. Now, in terms of the feels of these models, that ultra firm tight top is quite unique in the landscape of all mattresses, and that's one of the reasons why I specifically mentioned these Rockwell ancestors, because the Rockwell ultra firm was kind of well known as one of the firmer mattresses on the market, and this Estate tight top ultra firm is certainly in that same vein, and it is what we would classify on our softness spectrum as an extra firm. You're going to be much more floating on top of that mattress, not really getting hugged or cradled at all. As a result of there being just the 3/4 inches of memory foam, you're really not going to get a whole lot of that memory feel sensation, and you're going to get lots of bounce because you're going to be really feeling the coils, since the firm foams on top of them are going to move kind of in lockstep with that robust coil system of the IntelliCoil. So that kind of gives you a sense. That's a relatively unique model on the market, that ultra firm tight top. Now, in terms of the remaining 4 models in this Estate collection, the 2 tight tops and the 2 pillow tops, on account of the greater amount of this Indulge memory foam, all of them are going to have notably more of that memory feel. We would say, in fact, they're a little bit above average, recognizing that all mattresses, across all mattresses these days, most have some amount of memory foam in them. So average amount of memory foam is not 0, right? So, but in this case, because of the characteristics and the amount of this particular memory foam, I would say that each of these 4 other models in the Estate collection do have an above average amount of that memory feel, although not an extremely above average, just a slight bit above average. And then on top of that, because of the shock absorbing qualities of having this memory foam in them, they probably have a little bit less bounce than the ultra firm, but still more bounce than average. In terms of their softness levels, interestingly, we would classify both the firm tight top and the firm pillow top as a firm on our softness spectrum, while we would classify the soft tight top and soft pillow top as mediums on our softness spectrum. However, the 2 pillow tops are more similar to one another as it relates to the amount of cushioning depth. Both of them offer a little bit deeper cushioning, giving you a little more of that hugged or cradled sensation, whereas the 2 tight tops offer a little bit less of that, maybe a little bit more of that floating above your mattress sensation relative to the sleeping in your mattress sensation. And the last thing I would add about all 5 of these Estate models is that they all have excellent, if not exceptional, edge support. Okay, so now we've moved up to the Lux Estate Collection, which again is going to have 5 unique models within it. And one thing I should have really mentioned right up front in this video is that no one Stearns & Foster dealer is likely to carry all 19 of these models. But nonetheless, we wanted to give you a sense of all the different models that you may find out there in the marketplace. In this case, you're talking about, again, one ultra firm tight top, one medium tight top, and in this case, it's going to be 3 pillow tops, a firm, medium, and a soft. Now again, you're going to see about a $600 step up in price from the comparable models in the previous collection, the Estate Collection. And for that, you're going to see some upgrades, most notably among which is the introduction of latex. All 5 of these Lux Estate models contain 1 inch of latex. Now, it's worth noting that some of these Lux Estate models are going to contain a little bit less of that temper-indulge memory foam. But so specifically, the 4 models, with the exception of the medium Euro pillow top, are going to contain about 3/4 of that temper-indulge memory foam. But together with that 1 inch of latex, they're still going to contain more of those premium comfort materials than in the Estate Collection. And of course, the introduction of latex and having a little bit less of that temper-indulge memory foam is going to give them a little bit different feels from what you had in the Estate Collection. And then one unique thing I do have to mention in addition is that the medium Euro pillow top within this Lux Estate Collection does actually have more memory foam than the other models in this collection. It has just about 2.5 inches of that temper-indulge memory foam in addition to the 1 inch of latex. So you are going to see that medium pillow top is a little bit more expensive than the firm and soft pillow tops, and that is the reason for that. The other upgrade you're going to get in this Lux Estate Collection is in the cover. Specifically, you're going to add some more cooling features to this cover by going from a 100% Tencel cover, which is what you had in the Studio and the Estate Collections, to a blended cover of 50% Tencel and 50% high-density polyethylene fiber. So what do I mean by high-density polyethylene fiber, and why is that cool? Well, essentially, it's fiber that has a higher molecular weight, it's more dense, and it's cooler in the same respect that a higher density material like marble tends to feel cooler to the touch than a lower density material like wood. So you're going to get that 50-50 blend in all of the covers in this Lux Estate Collection. And the last key upgrade when it comes to this Lux Estate Collection applies to the 3 pillow top models within this collection, which is an increase in coil density. Specifically, you're going to go from a 1,504 coil density that you had in the Estate Collection models to a 2,044 coil density in a queen size in the 3 pillow top models in this Lux Estate Collection, and they achieved that through putting a higher coil density in the center third of the mattress. It's a zoning that allows you to have more support under the heaviest part of your body, and so that's another upgrade that's specific to the pillow top models within this Lux Estate Collection. Now, in terms of the feels of these 5 models, let's start again with the Ultra Firm Tight Top, which is, again, that is going to actually classify as an extra firm on our softness spectrum as well, although it's not quite as firm as the Estate Collection Ultra Firm. It's also got a different surface. It's not quite as quilted of a surface, so it'll be just a bit of a preference thing. The other thing I'll note about it is that just based on the way it is quilted and the nature of the cover, it's going to have a little bit more conformance than what you have on the Ultra Firm in the Estate Collection. So if you're looking for that same or roughly that same amount of firmness, but you want just a little bit more conformance for some side sleeping, for example, the Ultra Firm in this Lux Estate Collection could be a good option for you. In terms of the remaining 4, they're going to have relatively similar amounts of softness. This soft pillow top is going to be the softest among them. That one we would classify as a medium soft, meaning just to the softer classification than medium on our softness spectrum, but really just barely into that classification. And the other 3 we classify as a medium. So relatively tightly clustered as far as our definition of softness. As far as cushioning depth goes, again, they're all going to have a little bit deeper cushioning than their counterparts in the Estate Collection, I would say. A little bit more of that hugged or cradled sensation on average. And among them, probably the soft pillow top and the medium pillow top have the most cushioning depth although all of them are a little bit above average. The medium depth being the most cushioning depth on account of the fact that it has that additional memory foam in there. The soft one being second most on account of the fact that in addition to having the pillow top, it's also softer. So I think for the most part, those feel characteristics are going to be the way that you choose between these Lux Estate models. And in terms of the edge support, I'd say all of the models in this Lux Estate collection are excellent. Okay, so now we've moved up to the Lux Hybrid Collection, and this is probably the best example of the way in which Stearns & Foster is marrying its heritage of quality and craftsmanship that we talked about earlier with real innovation. And what they've ended up with here in this 3-model Lux Hybrid Collection is truly something unlike anything we've seen before in a mattress, in that it is really built around this, what you see from here to here, this integrated foam and spring encased unit. What I mean by that is that you have an encased coil down below, and connected to each encased coil is a pocket of encased foam. So that functions together, the foam and the spring, as one discrete unit. You have over 500 of these discrete units in a queen size mattress. And basically the benefit of that, or at least the purported intention here, is that instead of having a single sheet of foam, you're going to have these discretely functioning units that go, most of the height of the mattress. That's going to give you a lot more conformance. So people who are looking for a lot of conformance, I mean, this is certainly going to provide that. And then on top of that, it's going to also offer more vertical airflow through the mattress. If you think about the fact that obviously the springs themselves have lots of air flowing through them, but also between them, and then those air channels go all the way up almost to the very top of the mattress. There's basically another inch of memory foam right up at the very top of the mattress, but other than that, that airflow is going right up to the top of the mattress. So that's really a design that we've never seen anything like in the past. So quite novel. These coils here, by the way, this is all a very brand new thing. So they're not using the traditional Stearns & Foster coil. This is a completely new integrated unit that they came up with for this. And I should mention that what you're probably noticing in these encased foam pockets here, that there's two different types of foam. The top, depending on the model, the top 2.5 inches of what you're seeing here is that really dense, slow melting temper indulge foam. And then below that you have what I believe is just a regular poly foam occupying the bottom 1.5 inches or so of each pocket. So overall, this is going to bring you to a total profile height of 14.5, depending on which model you're talking about in this collection. The medium model is going to be a little bit less expensive. There's a firm, soft, and a medium. The medium is going to be a little bit less expensive because it uses 1.5 inches of the indulged foam at the top instead of 2.5 inches. But the last thing that all three of these models have in common is that in their cover, it is again a cover that uses Tencel, but it also adds phase change material just to enhance the cooling capacity of the cover. Now, in terms of the feel of these mattresses, let's start with some of the things that all three of these models are going to have in common. The first that comes to mind for me is they're all going to have a fair bit of memory feel. They're going to be well over towards that end of the spectrum, and that's on account of the fact that they're all going to have at least a couple inches of memory foam, and the majority of which is going to be that denser, slower responding temper indulge foam that we've talked about and shown you earlier. They're all going to have a little bit of bounce on account of the fact that they are innerspring mattresses. However, as innerspring mattresses go, I would say these are probably either the least bouncy or certainly amongst the least bouncy innerspring mattresses that we've tested. So again, a good match for somebody who wants some of the benefits of a spring mattress but is not a big fan of having a lot of bounce. In terms of conformance, that was, as you recall, one of the intentions and one of the fundamental aspects of the premise here, and no doubt these deliver on that. The soft model in particular is kind of off the charts as it relates to its ability to conform relative to other models we've tested, but all three of these models are going to be much more towards the end of the sleeping in your mattress, kind of getting that more hugged and cradled sensation from your mattress end of the spectrum. Even the firm, which was kind of the least of that, was still on the more cradled and hugged sensation type of spectrum versus a floating above your mattress sensation. In terms of softness, we would say certainly the firm is the firmest, and then the medium, and then the soft is the softest. We would characterize the soft on our softness spectrum as a soft. However, we would put the medium as a medium soft as opposed to a medium, and we'd actually put the firm as a medium soft as well, although it's very close to being a medium. So it is definitely firmer than the medium, but just not quite enough to be characterized as a medium on our softness spectrum. And in terms of other characteristics that we looked at, I do want to talk about repositioning because when you have a mattress that has this much conformance as well as a lot of that memory feel, it is something that can be an issue. So if you're somebody for whom repositioning is a real challenge for you on mattresses, these probably aren't the ideal match, but of course that's going to be a minority of the general population. In terms of edge support, we did look at this a couple different ways. When you sit on the edge, these mattresses didn't do great on that test, but I was surprised to see that from the standpoint of lying on the edge of the mattress, they did much better than I might have expected. I would say that on average they were very good on that dimension. All right, so now we've arrived at the Reserve Collection, which is the top of the line across all of Stearns & Foster. And this has been expanded from 3 models to 4 models in the current lineup. Let's talk about what all 4 of these have in common, which is the support unit is going to use something they call IntelliCoil HD, which is basically that same IntelliCoil that we showed you earlier, that coil in coil. But in the HD version of it, they essentially figure out a way to fit more of those coils into the same area. And the way they do that, if you could think of a 6-pack of cans, the way those come together, that's how a normal coil configuration would look in a mattress. In the HD configuration, they essentially just offset them a little bit so that the pointy part of one coil fits into the gap in between the 2 coils next to it. So it just basically allows them to nest the coils together in a way that allows them to fit more coils into the same space. Instead of having 1,504 coils in a queen size, you have 1,744 coils in a queen size. So that's something that's common across all 4 of these Reserve models. Now in terms of what's above that IntelliCoil HD support layer, that's going to depend on the model. You've got 4 total models in this collection. It starts with a medium tight top, and then it steps up to 2 pillow tops, a firm and a soft, and then a duet model, which is pretty unique. Let's come back to that one. As it relates to the other 3 models, they're all going to have 2.5 inches of that Temper Indulge memory foam that we talked about earlier, as well as 1 inch of additional memory foam right up at the top in the quilt layer of the mattress. So 3.5 inches of total memory foam on each of these, as well as 1 inch of latex, which is generally under the memory foam in each of these constructions. And then the cover is going to be the same 50-50 blend that we showed you with the Lux Estate in terms of 50% tensile and then 50% that higher density, higher molecular weight fiber that adds some cooling capacity to the cover. And of course, the last thing I would add is that all of these Reserve models are going to use this dark navy color scheme that you see here in front of me. All right, now we've moved over to a model called the Duet, which is the very top of the line within this Reserve collection and within the broader Stearns & Foster lineup. And this is an interesting model because, as you can see here, it does feature a removable and reversible topper here that's about 4 inches thick. So essentially what you have here is a tight top mattress below that does feature some memory foam as well as some of those other premium materials that we were referring to earlier. But then above that you have this 4-inch topper, which essentially consists of 2 inches of latex in the center and 1 inch of memory foam on both the top and bottom. So it is identical from the construction standpoint no matter which way is up. But the one thing that is not identical is the cover. So the cover on this side, the one you're seeing right now, is that same kind of 50-50 blend of tensile and the higher molecular weight fibers that give it a little bit of cooling properties. And then on the other side, instead of being the higher density yarn, it uses wool. So it's a blend of tensile and wool. And the idea here is to give you just two different feels from sort of a cooling or temperature standpoint. Maybe it's something that you might use as a seasonal adjustment. Think of it as in the winter, you might want the surface of your mattress to be a little more cozy. So they give you that option by simply flipping this topper over. So that's kind of a neat innovation and a neat feature to have within this Reserve collection. All right, so now let's get into the feels of these 4 Reserve models, because that may be the biggest determinant of which model you end up choosing to get. In terms of the softness, the range here is not huge. They're all going to be on the softer side of medium, or at least medium or softer. In fact, the Duet model at the top of the line we would classify as a medium, but it's really close to being a medium soft, whereas the soft model is the softest of the group. We would classify that as a soft, although it's also quite close to being a medium soft. The other two, the medium tight top and the firm pillow top, we would actually classify as medium soft. So there's kind of that's the range. You have medium soft, they all kind of revolve around that medium soft classification in our spectrum. As far as cushioning depth goes, we would say that the pillow tops are going to offer a little bit more cushioning depth, more of that cradled and hugged sensation than the other two. However, all of them are going to be deeper than average cushioning, so you're getting more of that relative to floating. Of the 4 of them, the Duet is going to be the one that has the most of that kind of sleeping on your mattress, floating above it type of sensation. And that's, of course, due to the latex being a little bit further up, closer to the top of the sleep surface. In terms of memory feel, they all are going to have more than average amount of memory feel. However, the Duet will have the least amount of that slow melting memory feel. And again, I think that may have something to do with the latex being up close to the top of the mattress. Although there's also memory foam up here, the memory foam in the topper is not that slow melting indulge memory foam, and therefore you don't get quite as much of that type of sensation on the Duet as you do on the other 3, where you're well over more towards that more intensive memory feel type of sensation. In terms of bounce, all of them are going to have some amount of bounce given the fact that they're inner spring mattresses. However, like the Lux Hybrid, although not nearly to the same degree, they do have less bounce than you might expect from a spring mattress, just stemming from the fact that there's a lot of memory foam up on top of these spring units that generally is going to mute some of that bounce. The medium tight top of the 4 is going to have the most bounce, most likely, and certainly this soft Euro top is going to have the least of them. In terms of some of the other characteristics that we looked at, repositioning might be a challenge for some people on some of these mattresses, just on account of the cushioning depth and the memory feel, but we did rate all of them as at least good on that dimension. If that is a particular concern for you, we recommend that the Duet model is going to be the easiest in that regard. And in terms of edge support, we did find that there was some variability across these 4 models on that dimension. Certainly the soft pillow top had the least edge support. However, the firm pillow top as well as the Duet both had at least very good, if not excellent, edge support. So there you have it. We hope you found this to be a helpful overview of this newly updated Stearns & Foster lineup. Now, one thing we deliberately did not talk about in this video is prices, because those are subject to change, particularly in today's environment. So we would recommend that you go to GoodBed.com and search for Stearns & Foster to make sure you're getting the current prices on these models, as well as the best available discounts, both online as well as in your local area, that you can find on these products. While you're on GoodBed.com, we'd also recommend taking the GoodBed Mattress Match Quiz, which is by far the most advanced, most objective, and most detailed quiz that you can find on the market as it relates to finding the best mattress for you. It will help you perform a detailed assessment of your personal needs, preferences, and priorities, and ultimately will help you determine whether the Stearns & Foster mattresses that we covered in this video are the right mattress for you. So that is something that we highly recommend as a starting point for any mattress shopper. But in the meantime, we thank you for watching, and we really hope you sleep well.